They're a major trade partner with the United States. There has to be something we produce because of our position in the Mississippi River, oil and gas, petrochemicals, chemicals, all of that. Fertilizer, a lot of the dirty stuff, chemicals that you don't want to mess with. We produce all that stuff down here by New Orleans. 30 miles away, all of the Roundup, which is like Agent Orange, essentially. All the Roundup's produced like 30 miles from the Dome, right up the river past Canberra. So anyway, I was like skeptical. South Korea. We land a nearly $6 billion Hyundai steel plant. So I'm like, I think the South Korea trip paid off. That wasn't a junket. Jobs, thousands of them, high-paying jobs, money pouring into the state on this deal. So the governor going to South Korea, this isn't like Junket Cantrell. Junket Cantrell has no resume on this, nothing that she has done that shows any single trip worth a damn for the city of New Orleans. Not a dollar coming into the city, not a single job created, not even some nonsensical BS job. Can't come up with anything. The mayor couldn't come up with one. Couldn't say, oh, that trip we went on to so-and-so created this and that. None of it. So Governor Jeff Landry and Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois in Paris for the air show. When you got not so much the LNG plants, and it's several of those. It's like a $18 billion one in Lake Charles. It's expansion of the one in Belle Chase by another like $18 billion, doubling the size of that. It's not so much those. I think those kind of things are pretty much coming no matter what, just where we're located. But the $10 billion Meta data center in Richland Parish, I remember in 7th grade at Trinity Episcopal School on Jackson Avenue. I was there for 1 year only. Had to take Latin, an entire class of Latin. And Spanish, another class. Either Spanish or French, but everyone's taking Latin. No, just learning about all kind of different stuff at that high-end school. 64 parishes on a map. You had to be able to put every parish in the spot it belonged in. All 64 parishes on a map. I don't even remember Richland Parish. It's up in the northeast part of the state, northeast of Monroe. Richland Parish and like the 4 parishes that surround it are some of the 4 poorest parish/counties in America. And Meta is building a data center there. It's a $10 billion investment. $10 billion in one of the poorest parishes/counties in the United States of America. That's a coup with Jeff Landry. That's amazing. The steel plant, amazing. Stuff we don't normally see. So, Jeff Landry sucks. I don't like his political ideology. Jeff Landry's the greatest. I love his political ideology. Proof's in the pudding. This guy goes to South Korea. We land a nearly $6 billion steel plant. Junket Cantrell goes to Ottawa, Canada. Nice, France. Have a good time on the beach. That's a scary thought. Tampa. Still might be in Tampa right now. I don't know where the mayor is. Don't care where the mayor is, but she's on a junket, hence the nickname Junket Cantrell. Jeff Landry's track record looks pretty good so far. So going to Paris, I don't stress out like that's a junket. Instead, maybe in 3 to 6 months, some, French companies coming to the bayou. Hopefully. Corey Johnson with you. Televangelist Jimmy Swaggart hospitalized. 90 years old, like cardiac arrest where I don't know if the heart was beating. And then paramedics got it going again. He's in intensive care in a Baton Rouge hospital. When I was at Louisiana State University and Agricultural and Mechanical College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the Baton Rouge flagship campus, Jimmy Swaggart pulling in $250,000 a day. That was 35 years ago, $250 a day.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Elm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
Native son, great New Orleans. No, that's me.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
New Orleans native son. No, that's me. That's me, lady. Oh, boy. Who was I yelling at? 766-9480. You can yell at me. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latin X at the controls. 766-9480 is how you ring the phone. Anything you'd like to discuss? Yeah, going into that break, I was talking about Jimmy Swaggart, 90 years old. Jimmy Swaggart's like cousin Jerry Lee Lewis. I'm trying to think who the country artist is that they're related to. Tilly maybe or something, I forget. Anyway, Jimmy Swaggart hospitalized, 90 years old, cardiac arrest. Like his son says he never regained consciousness. His son and I think another, the two brothers, two of Jimmy Swaggart's sons were trying to resuscitate him and couldn't get his heart beating again. And then paramedics got his heart going and he is in the hospital. He is alive. the founder of Jimmy Swaggart Ministries, where in the mid to late 80s, like 35, nearly 40 years ago, this dude was pulling in $250,000 a day back then. So do the quick math on that. That's a couple of mil a week. He's pulling about 7 mil a month, something like that. 8 million a month. Guy's pulling 100 million a year. Television evangelist. Now, I remember this. Jimmy Swaggart was seeing a prostitute on Airline Highway in New Orleans, would drive in from Baton Rouge in his limo and pick up on this prostitute on Airline Highway.
The ones in Baton Rouge, not up to his liking, I guess.
And then I'm trying to think of the preacher, Gorman. Gorman was a competitor. I think these two were basically peers, and at one point were probably equals. Gorman may have even had the edge, like being on television locally in New Orleans, I think, before Jimmy Swaggart got on television in Baton Rouge and was maybe a little more popular, had 6-8 stations picking him up around the state. Then Swaggart comes in and he's on 600 stations, he's on a satellite, he's worldwide, literally pulling in money from all over the world, people mailing him envelopes full of cash. Just insane. So I think they started out kind of as contemporaries, the same. Gorman maybe even a little ahead of him in the beginning, and then Swaggart just blowing by him, and then them becoming sort of adversaries or enemies. And then I guess Gorman found out about Swaggart's trips to the prostitute and followed him and took pictures, and Swaggart went on television crying and saying he sinned in all this, and attendance at his Bible college plummeted. They were building buildings on that college campus, 35, 40. One of them was like a hotel today. One of them was just a shell of a building for like they were building the second building. It's like a 18, 20-story tower. And right in the middle of construction, like the tower was up and it was nothing built inside of it, just empty. The scandal broke. So construction stopped like that day, because no money was coming in anymore. People dropped out of this college. No one was coming to the church. Church was standing room only. It's like 20% full. And television stations dropping his service, on and on and on, loss of money, all of that. No, I remember I was like, this guy, he had sports teams. Jimmy Swaggart Bible College had a basketball team and baseball, and played in college, division, whatever level they were at. NAIA, I have no idea. All of that. They were viable. And then just the bottom fell out of it. Now, it's a funny joke to me. My dad and my uncle, they used to hang out at the Home Plate Inn, it's called, because the old ballpark was at Tulane and Carrollton, the old minor league baseball park. So Home Plate Inn was a bar across the street, and the stadium got torn down and the Home Plate Inn survived. One of these characters at the Home Plate Inn, just full of a bunch of New Orleans characters. And my dad and uncle would hang out there because they grew up there. And one of the characters went up to my dad and uncle and were like, Jimmy Swaggart, how much is he worth? And my dad and uncle were just like, tens of millions of dollars. And the guy at the Home Plate Inn was like, wow, and we see the same girl. Because I forgot the Murphy or something. I think her name was Murphy or was the girl that they were seeing. And apparently this guy at the Home Plate Inn was seeing her as well. Anyway, he didn't mean it as a joke, but it ended up being a pretty good joke. Anyway, it's not a joke about Jimmy Swaggart's health. 90 years old, hospitalized. I will land on Jimmy Swaggart Ministries every now and then, like once every 6 months, just flying through the channels, usually late night, And sometimes I'll stop on it, and it looks like it's a rerun from, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years ago. I have no idea. And then sometimes it looks like it's a rerun. It's not present day, but it's not that long ago, because Jimmy Swaggart looked kind of older, and he has kind of this tick thing where he kind of jerks his neck a little bit, and it's a little more profound. And I just watch for a little while. I mean, it's not like an inspirational thing. I might listen to the message and be like, all right, that's out of the Bible, and I understand the interpretation. That's a good thing. I learned something from that. But it's not so much that. It's more just like this guy, this almost character kind of, this celebrity. And he's a televangelist that's, wealthy, still worth tens of millions of dollars to this day. So I'd watch. And then his son was doing the, taking control, I guess, of the, whatever you want to call it, the ministry, the church. And I think his son was so into watching the dad and following the dad and grew up with the dad and wanted to be a minister. I think he went to Oral Roberts and got like 2 theological degrees from Oral Roberts, legitimate degrees. And he has the same tick his dad has. And I think the son doesn't have a natural tick where he jerks his head. I think the son saw the dad doing it and unconsciously picked up the tick. Seriously, because he follows and mirrors his dad that much. Anyway, keep Jimmy Swaggart in your thoughts or prayers. I mean, I don't have a lot of good things to say about televangelists. It's like these injury attorney lawyers that advertise overtly on the billboards, on television, on radio. I mean, to me, they're borderline criminals. That what they're doing is definitely immoral, unethical, low class, no integrity. I don't know what to say. No honor, no pride. Just don't give a crap. Just that if I don't do it, someone else is going to do it. That that's the injury attorney thing. The televangelist is like, God told me to do this. I mean, Jesse Duplantis, right down in where is that? Armand Estates. He's got his church down there, and then he's got his house. I don't know which one's which. I don't know which one's the church, and I don't know which one's the house. And actually, I do. The house is much bigger and larger, it seems, than the church. Seriously. The house is obnoxious. And Jesse Duplantis goes to the Gulfstream plant to get a Gulfstream jet. You can YouTube this. This is just nauseating. Literally tells his flock, and they eat it up. They laugh and start writing checks, throwing money at him. I'm at the Gulfstream plant, and Jesus says, Jesse. Like, Jesus, first off, is calling Jesse by his name. Jesse. Don't get the G5. Get the G650, like the newer jet. Don't get the 8-cylinder Mercedes. Get the V12. Don't get the $200,000 Bentley. Get the $350,000 Bentley. I mean, just obnoxious, like Jesus cares about the Gulfstream plant or the Gulfstream plane or any of that. Seriously. But his crowd eats it up. They love it. 10%. Give that tidings 10%. It's a beautiful thing for Jesse Duplantis. He's wealthy. He's rich. He's obnoxious. Anyway, not a fan. That's just a local one. Your boy in Dallas. All these televangelists. The worst part, this is America. You want to pull your scam and suck people in? That's your deal. I'm a Catholic boy. I'm a raised New Orleans Christian Catholic boy. I believe in Jesus. That's my faith. I'm kind of old school where the priests were kind of low key and they lived kind of a humble life and they weren't, living in a Hampton Inn hotel-sized house. So my faith, I believe in Jesus. That's my faith, my choice. But this stuff's over the top to me. And at the very least, pay taxes on all this money. Pay taxes on all this money. Anyway, Jimmy Swaggart hospitalized. Keep him in your prayers and thoughts. 90 years old. His son says that they need a miracle. Corey Johnson with you. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. Lebanon's Cafe, open for business 7 days a week. Lebanon's Cafe is open. And they open up every morning about 11 a.m. They open up straight through the day. They never close. You can go in there at 2:30, 3, 4:30, whenever. And they stay open till 9:30 each and every night. I love those long hours. 11 a.m. till 9:30, lamb chop, shish kebab, all your favorite Middle Eastern sides. Carrollton and Jeanette by the Streetcar Barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the Streetcar Barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint. Paint Supply.
As New Orleans as the mighty Mississippi, Corey Johnson.
The old miss, the old man.
On 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
Deep river, my home
Thank you, pop-up showers, keeping us in the 80s, manageable. I played a little golf yesterday morning. Was it hot? Yes, but it wasn't oppressive. It wasn't oppressive. I mean, they had a breeze blowing. Was I sweating in my shirt and my boxers? Yeah, but it wasn't oppressive and it wasn't debilitating. No, it was in the 80s like it is right now. I might drop some coals tonight if the weather passes for a little Louisiana State University baseball. 85 degrees right now in the middle of April. That is absolutely impossible to beat. And if you look at the forecast for like the next week and a half, 10 days, it's exactly the same as it was last week. Pretty much rain every day, but we don't get rain every day. And then when we do get it, it's usually in the afternoon late, so you can knock out a lot of stuff in the morning or midday outside. And I just like that the high temperature every single day is like 87, 88, 89, 90 tops. Like 90 is the high. We could easily have sunny. 96 feels like 106 right now. The hell with that. I'll take 80s in mid-June, 85 degrees right now in mid-June, all day, every day, all the time. Are you kidding me? And it is mid-June, June 16th already. In 2 weeks, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, will be halfway through 2025.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
766-9480. You heard his voice. He said, wow, that's crazy. That's Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx. 766-9480. He's a big sports fan. Did you check out some U.S. Open?
I still have not. No.
You didn't watch any highlights or any of it?
Not really.
Mario Brothers, you're a fake sports fan.
I guess I am.
Yep. Got some cricket for you to check out tonight. Pakistan and India instead of LSU baseball. All right. I don't know what cricket's playing tonight or even if it's cricket season.
If it's India, a lot of people be watching.
Yeah, knock that wicket over. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. LSU and UCLA going at it at 6 p.m. in about an hour and 20 minutes. You Tiger fans have time to head to the grocery, grab your stuff, get a to-go order from a restaurant, bring home some stuff, get ready. First pitch at about 6:05. Arkansas threw a new no-hitter, the pitcher today in a win. That's a good thing, Mario Brothers, I would say.
Yes.
Arkansas pitcher threw a no-hitter, 19 strikeouts, and a no-hitter. Only 2 other no-hitters in World Series history. The last one was in 1960. 1960, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx.
Man.
No, it's good as that guy's done.
Yeah.
If they make the championship round, he's not.
Mm-hmm.
But that means they would have to beat the loser of LSU UCLA and then beat the winner of LSU UCLA twice.
Yes. On paper, they're at a disadvantage.
Yes, they're at a major disadvantage. But they're one arm through his greatest game, eliminated somebody, and he's done at least until the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So LSU won't face this guy if they have to play Arkansas either in an elimination game or in 1 or 2 games.
Yes. Good for LSU either way.
Yep, exactly, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx. You may not have watched any U.S. Open golf, but you know your Louisiana State University stuff.
Yes. Just baseball and NBA finals right now, I guess.
Anyway, the winner was 1 under, Mario. Only one golfer 1 under.
Oh, wow.
I told you, what did I say? Like 2 or 3 under is going to be your winner at Oakmont?
You called it, yeah.
You know, in the beginning of the week, I was like at 5, maybe 4 or 5. And then I was like, no, it ain't going to be 4 or 5. No one's shooting under par for 4 straight rounds. And the winner's going to have an over, par round. Anyway, great U.S. Open. Wide. Anyone could have won. It's pretty wide open. You threw rain in there to make it even crazier conditions. But that golf course was insanely hard. Some golfers were just like cursing the course. Never want to come back. Never want to play that again. Just complaining it's way too unfair. No, when you put the ball in the wrong spot out there, it is insanely penal. And when you put the ball in the wrong spot on these weekly tour stops, you can chip in for birdie, go up and down and save par all day, every day. It's almost expected. Almost expected. The opposite at the U.S. Open, especially when the conditions are that diabolical. The Army, 250 years old yesterday. Donald Trump, President of the United States, 79 years old yesterday. They had a big military parade in D.C. Hey, I know the legislature, I don't know what they accomplished this last session. Supposedly some changes with insurance, and maybe our rates will go down or stay steady, at least if they were expected to go up, they stay steady. I don't know. I mentioned these televangelists and kind of made a comparison to these advertising injury attorneys. We talked about this ad nauseum. They advertise just insane amount on billboards, on TV, on radio. I mean, so much on billboards where you'll have a billboard with one pole with two billboards on it, and both billboards are competing injury attorneys. It's like, wow, you couldn't even separate them. A billboard company, that many injury attorneys you have to deal with.
Jimmy from NOLA East.
So they advertise overtly. It encourages lawsuits. And then Tim Template, the insurance commissioner who joined me on the program about 6 weeks ago, made another great point about it. He said it insinuates you need an attorney to deal with an injury claim with an insurance company when you don't. I mean, we've all dealt with insurance claims. I have with my car, with my house, after hurricanes, all kind of stuff. Katrina flooded my house, all kind of stuff. Never hired an attorney once. Dealt with it all myself. Didn't leave any money on the table. Sometimes I had to haggle, get proof of, no, that's going to cost this amount to replace that. Pay up. No, it's, everyone wanted these injury attorneys and their advertising curb. Get a choke chain on that. We know it's a problem, yet our legislature did nothing because those injury attorneys load their pockets with, political contributions and more and more. Let's head to the phone lines. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. We head to New Orleans East, home of not one good restaurant. Jimmy joins us in the East. What's up, Jimmy?
Oh, come on, man. You don't like this Irish Bayou Casino and the good microwave chicken sandwich that they have in the little under the heat lamp?
Let's go to Jimmy in New Orleans East, home of not one good restaurant. Yeah, you go to the Far East, Jimmy. I haven't been to Vasinovich's in a while. How's that? Is that any good still?
Outstanding.
I haven't been there in a long time. They're like lunch only. I think Monday through Friday, it's like the Michoud crowd out there, working the plant. So they're like lunch only as far as I know, seafood platters and the like. And then Dong Fong Bakery down the street, across the street.
Yeah, Vasinovich's is worried about the Michoud crowd, depending on what happens with NASA. And then I know they got a couple other federal agencies out there.
No, Jimmy, that NASA's going from like a $25 billion budget, $24 billion budget to $19 billion. And they're talking about scrapping the entire, Orion capsule, the space launch rocket system, all that stuff they're building out there, and going with Blue Origin, SpaceX, the private companies. Now, Jimmy, this is, I'm going to talk to Michael Hecht about this. This is where Steve Scalise, John Kennedy, this is where the rubber hits the road. Are these guys going to get something done? Are these guys going to save those few thousand white-collar jobs out at Michoud? No, the folks at Vasinovich's should be a little nervous, Dong Fong Bakery. We cannot afford to lose some of the very few high-end, white-collar engineering jobs that we have out at Michoud. Can't afford it.
No, and I know there's a few other federal agencies out there too that were hit by that tornado a few years ago. So I hope it's the last. Besides, like the Folgers plant, man, it's like one of the last few pearls out here.
No, it's true. There's not a lot out there. It's Folgers. It's that. It's a handful of other little companies. I do think the naval, what were they doing? Checks, writing checks, producing checks, or some type of financial arm of the Navy. There were hundreds of jobs. The tornado that hit Michoud damaged their facility. I want to say they're all out at the beach now at UNO, at that office park on the lake at the end of Elysian Fields.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, which is still New Orleans East, I guess.
Well, it's not, but at least the jobs are in Orleans Parish and stayed locally. But no, Michoud cannot afford to lose a few hundred or even 1,000 of these engineering jobs out there for NASA. Yeah. That would be devastating.
Well, it'll be, it's interesting with the small government conservatives, and this is not a knock on Landry. Well, it kind of is a knock on Landry. He, is all about small government, but I know he penned a letter to his buddy Mike Johnson about that same topic, about how he wants them to preserve the jobs out there. So he's not hand in glove with Trump on that one, that's for sure.
No, there's no doubt. No, they're not going to agree on that.
What you think about this military parade, man? I just felt like it was like North Korea-ish.
Well, that was the fear that a lot of people thought. It's not that isn't what we do. It's what Russia, North Korea, China does to display their military. Donald Trump, I think, the patriotic thing kind of gets his base stoked up. To be honest, I didn't really watch any of it because I was watching U.S. Open golf. So I don't know, Jimmy, but from what I understand, the weather was a concern. But I don't know. No, I don't really have any comments on that one way or the other. I don't think it was any kind of a big hit or anything. Thanks, Jimmy.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground. Roll call. Kenner, Metairie, Harahan, River Ridge, Algiers, Gretna, Harvey, Terrytown, West Wego. We got you covered.
I think that military parade was $80 million, something like that. 80 million. I know some of the tanks were like in like Texas. They had to put them on like a train and run them up to DC. And then you had to put different treads on the, you didn't have to take off the metal treads. I think you put some like plastic protectors on there so they don't chop up the street because they weigh like, I forget what these tanks weigh. Let's see. I think an Abrams tank, I want to say it's like, a ton is 2,000 pounds. I think these tanks are like 50 tons, something ridiculous, something silly, which is crazy. It's like 100,000 pounds. I think that might beat up the street. Let's see. How many tons is an Abrams tank? Jesus, 70 tons. I said 50. I was way off.
Man.
70 tons. So that's a 2,000 pounds, 140,000 pounds. 70 tons. I mean, they're like some bridges and roadways where just that they can't handle that weight. That's crazy. I would think just a bunch of those on a rail car would stress out the tracks and train bridges. Got to spread those bad boys out, I'm assuming. Anyway. Yeah, I don't care about a military parade one way or the other, really. I mean, if you press me on it, I'd be like, yeah, it's just politics and a waste of time. Anyway. Televangelist Jimmy Swaggart, 90 years old, hospitalized, cardiac arrest, like his 2 sons were working on. How bad is this situation? Your father has a heart attack and drops to the ground, and he's dead. He's not breathing and his heart's not beating, and you're trying to revive him. That's got to be terrible. And you're waiting on EMS. But then they said like a lot of EMS showed up. You know, that they're in that, I guess, St. George area, which is sort of the first class part of Baton Rouge. They're not far from Perkins Road and Highland Road and Country Club of Louisiana and Perkins Row and Blue Bonnet and all of that area. So that's sort of the rich, affluent, south side of BR. Lots of money, lots of resources. So lots of medical attention. They got his heart going again. He's in intensive care. Jimmy Swaggart, 90 years old, father of Jimmy Swaggart Ministries, pulling like north of $100 million a year. When I was at LSU, they were pulling $250,000 a day. 250 grand a day, and that was 35 plus years ago. It's just insane, the amount of money. No, not a big fan of televangelists, but I'm a big fan of capitalism and people making, free choices. I'm sure if someone scrutinized everything I do in life, they'd be like, boy, Corey, that's a waste of your time and money. I'd be like, boy, I didn't even realize that. You're right. But it's America. People can do whatever they want. I just think these televangelists, because they're not just rich, they're wealthy. They need to pay taxes. They need to pay taxes. Look, I'm a Catholic Christian boy. I think the Catholic Church needs to pay taxes. Synagogues need to pay taxes. No religion should be tax-free. It just should be a religious tax rate. And this is kind of hard to differentiate, but sort of the mainstream, you want to call it mom and pop church. They're part of, the Protestant religion or Baptist religion or Jewish or, Catholic. but they're standalone, they get just some standard lower tax. The televangelists, they pay full-blown business tax like anybody else. Try to get your deductions out there. And well, I mean, I guess you not deductions because your claim everything is it's a nonprofit. On paper, it's not a nonprofit. It's not a nonprofit when these televangelists are not rich but wealthy. When Jesse Duplantis lives in a house that's obnoxiously large. I mean, I remember the end of Schindler's List. Did you ever watch that movie, Mario Brothers?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
You remember your boy, who's the actor, the main actor from Taken?
Yeah.
We know him from Taken. Liam Neeson. At the end of the movie, he's crying at the end because he's like, I could have sold this car. And I'd be like 12 more lives. This ring's gold. This, Nazi pin is gold. That's 2 more lives. He's like crying about it. He's just heartbroken. This is just a guy that came to the realization of the importance of people's lives. I don't see how Jesse Duplantis justifies go to the Gulfstream plant. First off, you're at the Gulfstream plant. That's ridiculous that you need a private jet. And I can get around quicker and spread the word of God to more people and get the ministry out farther and all that. Farther, nonsense. It's all BS, especially when you're going to Vegas in that plane all the time. No, so these folks are charlatans. They're BS artists, and they should be paying full-blown taxes. No, I mean, think of all the lives Jesse Duplantis could save if he lived in a 2,000 square foot house. I'm trying to think how big his house is. We're going to use Google again. It's something obnoxious you're not going to believe. It's like 40,000 square feet. How many square feet is Jesse Duplantis' house? 35,000 square feet. 35,000 square feet. It's a friggin' Hampton Inn.
Man.
Hampton Inn. I mean, a small apartment that's 3 bedrooms and 1 bath, about 1,200 square feet, 1,000 square feet. 1,000. He's got 35,000. Like enough for a family of 4, 35 families of 4 to live there. 35 families of 4 to live there. No, and then you have some rich, wealthy people that have earned a lot of money, whatever they do, got a big family, want a nice house, big uptown mansion. It's like 5,000-6,000 square feet, these humongous uptown mansions. You go down North Line in Old Metairie, houses might be 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 square feet. They're humongous. Jesse Duplantis' house is 35,000 square feet. Just crazy. How many lives could he save? How many hungry people could he save? How many people could he clothe? I'll tell you someone who's got the answer to that question. This guy knows the answer to that simple question. It's obnoxious. You're right, Blue Boy. No single man needs 35,000 square feet. You're right, buddy. He's got a wife, probably has some kids, but 35,000 square feet, you could have 100 people living in that house. Yeah. How many lives could he save living in a moderate house, not having a G5 jet and living wealthy, just living a regular life?
You're on the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
An 80-room Hampton Inn has about 50,000 square feet. A 100-room Hampton Inn is about 60,000 square feet. So just doing some quick math, Jesse Duplantis' house at 35,000 square feet would be about 55 Hampton Inn rooms, north of 50 Hampton Inn rooms at 35,000 square feet. It could be a Hampton Inn with 50 rooms. Oh, boy. Why were we talking about Jesse Duplantis? Well, we were talking about televangelists in general, especially the ones that are rich and wealthy. And I think about Schindler's List and religion, you know, and the Schindler guy was a businessman, a German Nazi businessman who saved about 1,000 Jewish people by working them in his factory and producing weapons that really didn't even work that well. And at the end of the movie, you know, when the plant was shutting down and the war was over, He was just sobbing like a baby because he could have sold his car, could have sold these other items and saved additional lives. He was weeping. So I take that attitude, that mentality, that application of, boy, this car, I could have saved 10 lives. This Nazi pin with gold in it, I could have saved 2 lives. How many additional lives, how many additional people could Jesse Duplantis feed or put a roof over their head, help them get a job, help them job training? How many people that are suffering could Jesse Duplantis make their life that much better if he lived in a house that was 2,000 square feet instead of 35,000? If he didn't have a G5 jet because he doesn't need it, if he didn't have a jet that costs tens of millions of dollars, if Jesse Duplantis was a humble man that lived a moderate life, made 70 grand, he lived on 75,000 a year, 80,000 a year, 100,000 a year, 100,000 a year instead of tens of millions of dollars. If he was just a regular person doing God's will, and all the money he takes in the hundreds of millions of dollars, he just distributes it to the needy. That would be amazing. That would be someone that you want to grow up and be like. You want your daughter to marry, your son to grow up and be like, someone that was all giving. But people like Jesse Duplantis and a lot of these televangelists are all taking. They're not rich. They are wealthy. They are wealthy, and they don't pay taxes. And it's a big farce. No, a friend of mine just said something a little while ago. He's like, damn, what is it? What's the site?
Which one?
The chicks that
OF, OnlyFans.
Oh, OnlyFans.
Yeah.
OF. Mario Brothers, AK Latinx, knows it as OF, like initials.
Yeah.
So very familiar with OnlyFans. Wow.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of taboo. Yeah, you say OF.
Anyway, yeah, you shouldn't know it. So OnlyFans, dude, sounds you can get in with this code. Anyway, no, you basically my friend was like, at least they're legit. Like, that you pay for it and they do whatever they do on OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
These televangelists, a lot of them are just full of crap. Just, totally full of it. And rich and wealthy and justifying it to their flock, and their flock eats it up. Their flock eats it up. Well, pray for one televangelist, 90-year-old Jimmy Swaggart, hospitalized, cardiac arrest right in front of his 2 boys. They tried to revive him for a while. Wasn't breathing, no heartbeat. Paramedics came quickly. They got his heart beating again. He's in the hospital. The founder of the Jimmy Swaggart Ministries. When I was at LSU, he was pulling in $250,000 a day. This is like 35 years ago. Pulling in $250,000 a day, like $100 million a year. The Jimmy Swaggart Bible College was exploding, had big enrollment, buildings going up all over the campus. They played NAIA, a certain level of college sports, basketball, baseball. It's unbelievable. And then the scandal that rocked Jimmy Swaggart Ministries, hooking up with a prostitute right on Airline Drive, right in New Orleans, right in Jefferson Parish. And a competing televangelist at a much smaller level, Gorman, kind of outed him. And Swaggart went on TV crying, I've sinned, and that couldn't save the ministry. He's been on, kind of trying to get it back ever since. And it's still viable in the sense that it's there. He owns the church still. He has the buildings. He's worth 10, 20 million bucks. He's just not pulling in $250,000 a day. His son went to Oral Roberts. He has a degree, a couple of theological degrees or degrees in theology, and he's part of the church. He's taken over the ministry. Pray for Jimmy Swaggart, Louisiana boy from Faraday, right across the river from Natchez, Mississippi, but in Louisiana. Jerry Lee Lewis was his cousin. Jimmy Swaggart, 90 years old. LSU, UCLA, first pitch less than an hour away. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, all bummed out. I'm going to listen to the first inning on the radio. I want to watch. You can watch when you get to your favorite sports bar or home. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx.
Fair enough. I like Chris Blair, though, on the radio. He's good.
You like Chris Blair?
Yeah.
I don't mind Chris Blair for baseball.
Yeah.
I love John Brady with him for basketball. Brady is an excellent color guy.
Agreed. He's awesome.
But Chris Blair for football, and I'm not a big, sorry, I'm not trying to be a jerk. Chris Blair could be like, Corey, I listen to your show. I think it sucks. Whatever. It's not going to affect me one bit. I doubt Chris Blair really cares what I think, but I don't know where the ball is when Chris Blair is doing football play-by-play. I have to do math. I have to do math in my head to figure out where the ball is when I think Chris Blair is doing television play-by-play, I think on radio or something. I don't know.
Different sports. Is someone who does them all. It's different. Yeah.
But seems like a very nice guy, and he's always prepared and he's dedicated. And I think baseball's more his speed, and basketball with Brady. I think Brady's fantastic. But whatever. I like Gordy Rush as sideline reporter for football.
Yeah, Gordy's awesome.
Gordy's a former player, special teams player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Gordy's like an all-heart guy.
Yeah.
Gordy was fast and athletic, but at the LSU level, he was full scholarship at Purdue, started as a DB, a safety at Purdue his freshman year, then transferred to LSU, sat out a year, and then played 3 more years, mostly special teams.
Yep.
But was special teams player of the year. I know 1 year, 90 or 89, if not 2 years.
That's why he's really good at breaking down special teams, like kickoff and stuff.
No, and he's fast.
Yes.
Gordy's like a, 4.5 40, like legitimate 4.5. Probably ran some 4.5 4.4s before.
Yeah.
He's on the Jesuit All-State relay team. You can't be slow when you're winning state in Louisiana in track because there are 3 or 4 relay teams that are full of college athletes, track athletes. Anyway, LSU, UCLA, first pitch on ESPN in about 45, 50 minutes from now. Brett Martell from the Associated Press will give us a little preview in about 20 minutes from now. LSU, 2 wins from the championship game round. Arkansas eliminated, who was it? Not Weber State, who was it?
Murray State.
Murray State.
There you go, yeah.
Murray State. 18 strikeouts, a no-hitter by the Arkansas pitcher, which is good for LSU in a way. I mean, he went the whole game, so you didn't go through a lot of pitchers. But that ace is done for the immediate. He wouldn't be ready again until the weekend, and LSU would be eliminated by then if it goes that way. But LSU beats UCLA today. They kind of put their hands behind their head and put their feet up on the table and wait. UCLA, if LSU wins, UCLA would play Arkansas tomorrow in an elimination game. Whoever wins that, LSU would play them on Wednesday. And LSU could even lose because it's double elimination. Then on Thursday, they'd play again for an elimination game. But if LSU wins against UCLA and then wins against the UCLA-Arkansas winner, LSU is in this weekend's championship game. No, it's hell of a lot easier coming out of the winner's bracket. You basically, in the winner's bracket, you go 4-0 and you're in it. Out of the loser bracket, you're playing 5-6 games. 766-9480 is the phone number. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latin X, at the controls. 766-9480. 766-9480. Now, I don't call them Latinx. Everybody does. It's these hyper woke folks. They were like, wait, you're calling everyone a Latino, but a female Latino is a Latina. But you're saying like the Latinos are coming over the border. The Latinos are part of the fabric of America. The Latinos make up 13% of the population. The Latinos this, the Latinos that. But there's some that are female. We need to recognize them. We'll call them Latinx. That way it means male and female. And the Latinos were like, maybe you should consult with us, hyper woke folks. We're going to stick with Latino, like mankind includes women. Latino is a male person of Latin descent. Latina is a female. As a group, they're Latinos. Latinx. That's so silly. But that's what Mario Brothers' parents named him years before political correctness came in. And we're going to stick with it. Latinx.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City. Changing talk radio in New Orleans for the better. It's Corey Johnson on the Neutral Ground. Every weekday afternoon on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333 from 4 p.m. to 5:30.
You right. Thanks for joining us on this Monday afternoon. Every day, this program on radio, television, and YouTube brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. That's in Kennebra, the big store, Lamarck Ford, over 45 years. Lamarck Lincoln, #1 in the state. Have you checked out the Black Label Lincoln SUVs? Outstanding. Plush, luxurious. Some of the nicest SUVs anywhere. And if you own a business and you need a commercial van, truck, or SUV, Lamarck Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway, LSU, UCLA, about 45 minutes till first pitch. little after 6 o'clock, ESPN, Omaha, Nebraska, the College World Series, LSU, UCLA. LSU, 2 wins from the championship game. And LSU, it's a double elimination. They're in the winner's bracket. They can afford a loss, but obviously you don't want LSU losing. And you folks going, Corey, don't jinx them. I don't believe in jinxes. Governor Jeff Landry and his economic development secretary, Susan Bourgeois, and others in Paris at the Paris Air Show. Now, normally I'd be like, man, this smells like a junket to me. The Louisiana Economic Plan prioritizes, this is quote, prioritizes global impact, growth in aerospace and defense, and high-wage job creation. So this Paris Air Show is the largest in the world, and aerospace is not just space like outer space, it's airplanes. So I like the prioritizing global impact, like got to go outside of Louisiana, got to go outside the South, got to go outside the country to create jobs. Growth in aerospace and defense. We're already involved in those. We need to expand our footprint. And high-wage job creation. Who's against that? So still, even with all that sweet sound and stuff, you can sit there and go, Jeff Landry at the Paris Air Show is by definition a junket. And I disagree. Because you have to go, and I'm no Jeff Landry fan or proponent. I'm not an enemy either. I'm just trying to look at things fairly and objectively. You got to look at history and, the resume and past things that have gone down like this, like Jeff Landry going to South Korea with Susan Bourgeois. And then a few months after that trip, announcing a $5.8 billion Hyundai steel plant. Walking the walk after talking the talk. LaToya Cantrell, a.k.a. Junket Cantrell, simply goes on junkets by definition. Taxpayer finance vacations. Not a single job, not a single dollar brought back from dozens and dozens of international trips. The only one benefiting from these international trips, Junket Cantrell in her suitcase with all the destination stickers all over it. No, Jeff Landry, his economic team goes to South Korea. They land a $5.8 billion with a B, $5.8 billion Hyundai steel plant. Thousands of construction jobs, like 1,000 workers, high-paying jobs. Just tremendous. And now a relationship with Hyundai and South Korea. And that's huge. And then you throw in like the $10 billion Meta data center. I mean, Jeff Landry is producing wins, if you like him or not. Junket Cantrell just goes on junkets. Selfish, all about herself, nothing about civic duty. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Jeff Landry's perfect. Trying to control all the boards, weakening the ethics board. There's a lot of problems with Jeff Landry, but a $10 billion Meta data center in Richland Parish, one of the poorest parishes / counties in the United States of America, that's a friggin' coup. That's like a grand slam home run. Such a grand slam home run, that ball's still traveling. What's the Major League movie line? It's got a stewardess on that ball. That's a good movie, by the way, huh?
Just saw it recently. It's funny you mentioned that.
It's funny as hell. It's such a good movie.
It's always a classic.
Great. It's a classic. And Major League 2 is watchable. 3 is kind of getting out of control. 3 is sort of, where did this movie go?
Yeah, the first one's a good one.
The first one and the second one's all right. Not really that good. But the first one's really good. As good as it gets. Anyway, yeah, I would say Jeff Landry, look at the resume. Look what he's done. The steel plant is huge. So, no, I'm not going to go, he's at the air show and it's a junk. And I'm going to, hopefully in 3 months, 6 months, there's some economic news, a big French conglomerate or some entity that Landry and his crew met at the Paris Air Show are coming into Louisiana, creating jobs. No, Junkie Cantrell, I don't even know where she is. 3 weeks ago, she was in Ottawa, Canada. About 2 weeks ago, she was in Nice, France. Think over the weekend, still might be there right now. Tampa, Florida. I'm sure in a week or two, she'll be somewhere else. The free tickets, the free meals, it's ending in like 6 months. Come January, it's pay to play, lady. Pay to play. It's going to be painful. Ramen noodles, drive through at the Burger King. Is the dollar menu active? This former Mayor LaToya Cantrell. I mean, this is America. It's capitalism. People don't hire people unless they get more money out of the hire. Like it benefits them to have that person. I remember when Mark Morial ceased being mayor. His 2 terms were up. A local law firm hired him. After a year, they parted ways. He didn't work there. He didn't do anything, didn't show up for work, didn't create jobs, wasn't a rainmaker, didn't bring in clients. So after a year, they let him go. Urban League hired him away. HRI, Press Kabakoff's company. They go into cities, take over old warehouse buildings and convert them into apartments and condos. He hired Sidney Bartholomew. To this day, Sidney Bartholomew still works for HRI because it benefits Press Kabakoff and HRI. He had all these connections with mayors in other cities, understood how city politics works, could help get these projects through. So if you hire someone, they have to bring in more money, make the company better than them not being there. Otherwise, you get rid of them. Like that law firm got rid of Mark Morial because he wasn't a rainmaker, didn't work, didn't bring in any jobs. They parted ways after a year. What is LaToya Cantrell going to do for any company? Seriously. What is LaToya Cantrell going to do for any company? I don't think LaToya Cantrell could manage the corner Walgreens by herself. Seriously. So after January, the 15 minutes of fame is up. And that's if she doesn't get indicted before. And she's going to have to go find a legitimate job. I don't know what that's going to be. Stocking the shelves at Marshall's or seriously, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'd say managing a McDonald's, but she doesn't have managerial skills. Doesn't have leadership skills. So no, LaToya Cantrell's in trouble. She is juicing this to the very end. As many trips as possible because she knows she will look back on this the rest of her life. All the international travel and those meals I had when I was the mayor with the city of New Orleans. Hey, Audubon gutters, lots of rain on the forecast. Got gutters full of dirt, weeds growing in your gutters, gutters falling off your house, rusted gutters with holes in them. They just leak. Eyesore to the neighborhood. Time for new gutters for your home or business. No brainer. Audubon Gutters for nearly 35 years. New Orleans Gutter Company. And all they do are gutters, home or business. My house, they installed gutters with the Leaf Guard system back in October. Leaf Guard system, get it and forget it. You'll never have to pay someone to get on a ladder and clean your gutters again. AudubonGutters.com. AudubonGutters.com. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Yeah, you right. LSU, UCLA, 35 minutes first pitch, ESPN. College World Series, Omaha, Nebraska. You know, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, we're already in mid-June. College baseball, I said this last week, they pushed the season start back 2 weeks. This College World Series weekend falls on July 4th.
Yeah.
Hot dog, apple pie, college baseball national championship. I think they're missing the boat.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That would be aesthetically pleasing.
I don't know if it's like U.S. Open tennis is like pressuring them to stay away in that coming up. I mean, I don't.
Nah, it's just stubbornness to change it, like the NBA
Well, that's not
season.
no. What is not U.S. Open tennis? What falls on July 4th?
Is it golf? Is it more golf?
No,
I'm not sure.
British Open. Maybe it is U.S. Open tennis.
Okay.
Maybe it is U.S. Open tennis.
Either way.
I was thinking I thought that was August, September. Something. I don't know. Are they pushing them to stay away from that date? I just think that's no brainer for college baseball. Plus, you get some of the northern teams maybe more viable because their season starts 2 weeks later, and 2 weeks could be all the difference in the world with like a snow-covered field or, inclement weather, any of that crap.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the legislative session ended last Thursday. I saw a lady today on the driving in her car with the phone up by her ear. I thought it was hands-free only. Like can't talk on the phone even with it up by using a hand to talk on the phone. Like the no texting law didn't cover all the bases. People are like, you're getting pulled over and it's like, no, I was emailing. I wasn't texting. The law is specifically texting. I was emailing, and like this kind of crap went to court. So now it's like hands-free, which covers everything. No emailing, no texting, no dialing. And I don't even think you can be holding the phone up. But I see a lot of folks, I'll be behind them, Mario Brothers, and, pull up on side, be like, why were they going so slow? And I glance over and they're texting.
Yep, every time.
Head down. I'm like, my God. Lay on the horn and, they freak out. But you don't want to lay on the horn. They might jerk the wheel and slam into you. Corey Johnson with you.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The vibe of the Crescent City, Corey Johnson.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM. Also from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida on 600 AM and 1560.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. Coming up in about 28 minutes or so. First pitch, LSU, UCLA, ESPN, Omaha, the College World Series. Brett Martell has been writing for the Associated Press for nearly 30 years, covering this region for 25 plus when it comes to sports. I think I got all that right. Brett, am I warm?
Moved to pretty warm there. I actually didn't move to sports full time until about 2006. I was in news before that, but yeah, I've been going on 20 years in sports.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Brett, how can folks check out your columns, your pieces, any of the stuff via the AP?
The AP News app on a smartphone is probably the best way to do that. And it's free and gives you news from all over the world.
Boy, coming out of the winner's bracket is key in Omaha. LSU, UCLA in about 30 minutes or so, 25 minutes. If LSU wins, Brett, you get UCLA and Arkansas playing in an elimination game, and then the winner of that game would have to beat LSU twice. But first things first, LSU has to win and stay in that winner's bracket.
Right. And fortunately for LSU, they have basically the equivalent of two aces. So Anderson go the first time. Anson will go to the closing game against West Virginia. Last Sunday, and or 2 Sundays ago, I should say. And he gives them a great chance to win.
What does UCLA bring to the table? I mean, I don't know these college teams all that well, Brett. I kind of just look at their records, and at this point, you got a bunch of winning programs that have, made it down to, it's down to the final 7, I guess now. We've got a team or two eliminated. Maybe 6, huh? Down to the final 6. Yeah, we got Murray State's out, and who was the first team eliminated? I forget. They went 0 for 2 real quick and were eliminated, but I forget. Anyway, they're down to 6 teams. So UCLA's got something going for them. Arkansas seems to be a hitting team, LSU a pitching team. What do you know about UCLA, Brett?
Yeah, you know what? I haven't covered them all year, and while I'm very interested in the game tonight, I won't be covering that one. So I haven't done a ton of research on UCLA, I have to say. Other than they came out of a super regional on the West Coast.
LSU, you mentioned their pitchers. Their first 2 pitchers are like arguably the best 2 pitchers in all of college baseball. Is that right?
2 of the best, I think.
And what's the other strength you'd say of LSU, Brett?
Well, they have some, really good. I think they're a good fielding team, and they have, a good combination of power hitting, hitting for average, scrappy hitters, so they look like one of the most complete teams in there, and clearly one of the favorites. It's not, and partly because, obviously the bats changed, more than 10 years ago, but it's not going to be the vintage home run hitting LSU teams of, World Series championships past. But it's a team that can win in a lot of different ways, and a team that is clutch and, can produce 2-out rallies and just really relentless type of team.
Yep. Brett Martell's with us from the Associated Press. LSU, UCLA, coming up in a little after 6 o'clock on ESPN, Omaha, Nebraska, a winner's bracket game. The winner gets to rest. The loser plays Arkansas in an elimination game tomorrow on very little rest. Boy, Brett, some professional golfers, as predicted, ticked off, man. F-bombs on the course, swinging clubs, kicking in lockers in the locker room. U.S. Open at Oakmont, 1 under. Your winner is 1 under. Everybody else over par, just like a U.S. Open's supposed to be.
Yeah, that might even be a little extreme, right?
I didn't mind it. I mean, 1, 2, 3 under at the most, and if it's 1, 2, 3 over par, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
it was extreme, but fair. Just up against that. That's what they try to do, Brett. Wherever the threshold is, that the line across to unfair, they try to get but right up against it, and I like it. It's once a year. This is like once a decade. The LA Country Club, they tore that thing a new one a few years ago.
Right. Well, this one, they don't have any water, right? So they make up for it with obviously the rough and
not really any trees.
No, not really any trees either. So in the absence of trees because it's kind of a links course. In the absence of trees and water, it's rough and it's interesting kind of sand traps, including those, the church pew trap and stuff.
And diabolical greens that are undulated and ridiculously fast.
Right. Look, every player has to play the same course, right? So fair or unfair, I mean, no one got to play an easier version of that course.
It's true. I mean, maybe if you went off in the morning or something, and then the next day you're going off in the afternoon, you're right. No one got an easier version.
And I think, what it's a risk. I mean, it makes almost every shot into a risk reward calculation, right? I mean, you can be conservative, and hit a safe shot and one of your more accurate clubs, or you can be aggressive and, it's like in the casino. I mean, it's like playing craps. If you pull it off, it's, you can end up with an eagle on the par 5. And if you don't pull it off, you can end up with a double bogey. So stuff like that.
No, I think it was, forget, Gary Woodland or one of those guys. He's like 15 feet. It's a par 4. It's like 450 yards. He's about 15 feet from the flag in the rough, about a foot off the green, and about 15 feet from the flag. He duffs, so he's there in 2. Any other pro tournament, I would say it's about an 80% chance they're going up and down for par. Maybe a 10% or even better. I would say a better chance of chipping in for a birdie than a 5, not going up and down, taking 3 shots from 15 feet on any pro tournament. Zurich Classic, Charlotte, wherever. You're on the side of the green. I would say a better chance of birdie than bogey, and about an 80% chance of going up and down. With that said, Woodland duffs the chip about 1 foot, then proceeds to putt it about 8 feet past, and then doesn't make the putt coming back. So he makes not only not a bogey, a double bogey. He makes a 6. So 2 shots, 450 yards, 4 shots to go 15 feet. That's the U.S. Open, Brett. That's the way it should be. Plus, it kind of tells us, like, well, I can do that. That's what I do on the golf course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we'd do even worse, though, wouldn't we? On
that course? Are you kidding? Please. Yeah. I just mean on our regular courses, we do that
right.
stuff.
It's really, I did find it very compelling because you just felt like there were nerves on every shot. And, the stakes are high because it's a major.
Yep.
So it's kind of the most exciting kind of golf in a way.
Yep, no doubt. Brett, have you heard anything about the fairgrounds? You know anything about that?
I am not in the loop on that one.
Me neither.
Other than I heard that, it's apparently not for sale yet.
Yep. And it looks like they're talking, so I think there'll be a racing season. Saints mini camp, your impressions?
Team morale seems pretty high. I think it's, it's a time of year for optimism. The quarterback is doing and saying everything right. And by that, I mean Tyler Shuck, but so is Spencer Rattler. Shuck looks impressive in terms of all the tangibles. But, we'll have to see how the intangibles play out in real games. as well as the processing speed and the decision making when you have to deal with, a real pass rush and a more physical allowed to receivers off their routes inside the first 5 yards, et cetera. We'll see that.
Rumors that the Pelicans are potentially moving up to 3 in the draft. I don't know if these rumors are true or not. Is it any validity to that, or just talk?
Well, as long as I've covered the NBA, there's a lot of those. There's a lot of that speculation that never pans out.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that they aren't, they aren't entertaining proposals. The thing is, what it looks like is, we're going to have to see what they do with Trey Murphy. I think they're trying to figure out if Trey Murphy III really wants to be here, really wants to be part of the new regime. And if they don't feel like he does, he might be one of their more tradable assets. It appears that obviously you're not going to get what you think Zion's worth, and it appears that Joe Dumars, the new general manager, wants to try to see what he can do with that unique sort of talent on a roster that he's overseeing. So Zion looks like the face of the franchise, at least for one more year. And that leaves Murphy as maybe one of the most tradable assets, and maybe it was something that they do if they feel like he's not invested to move up in the draft and start rebuilding the team in the new, executive VP's image.
Hey, Brett, the NBA has the best postseason in sports. The playoffs started 2 months ago. 2 months ago. And now it's hard to get much better than this. It's a best of 3 series, all knotted up at 2 apiece.
Yeah, well, I think people from where I grew up would say the NHL might have the best postseason in sports, but the NBA is very good and definitely far more compelling than its regular season. So, look, we live in a city that is an NBA market, and I would expect people to be paying attention to this one because it's one of the best defensive and deepest and most complete teams in Oklahoma City, a team that we saw here several times. And scores like crazy and plays a very up-tempo and exciting brand of basketball. So I would have thought Oklahoma City would have the edge, but it's all knotted up at 2, and so it's really anybody's series.
Yep. That's Brett Martell, another Martell Monday. Brett, always a pleasure. See you next week.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Total maintenance, TM-JC.com, no cool spots. TM-JC.com, no cool spots.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
As New Orleans as coffee in the morning and as New Orleans as coffee in the morning and raw oysters for lunch. It's Corey Johnson on the Neutral Ground.
On. Ah, there it is. Now it's on.
It's still doing
What?
that. I don't know what's happening, but as long as you're on.
No, I hear myself now. I didn't a second ago. I think it was just dead air a second ago. That's no bueno in the radio YouTube world. Nah. Or just this.
Yeah, that's typically not a good thing.
They call it dead air for a reason. LSU, UCLA, first pitch a little over 10 minutes away on ESPN, College World Series in Omaha. It's a winner's bracket game. Hopefully the Tigers win. Arkansas eliminating Murray State earlier. Arkansas's pitcher, complete game, no hitter, 18 strikeouts. Wow. Kind of a catch-22, Mario Brothers. LSU won't have to see that cat, but it didn't deplete the pitching staff either.
Yep.
You didn't go through 5 pitchers to beat Murray State.
Exactly.
But you don't have to see the guy who struck out 18.
You would think it's a disadvantage.
Yep. I guess it's probably a disadvantage
for them.
A strength for Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully, LSU takes care of UCLA. UCLA, Arkansas would play in an elimination game. Arkansas or UCLA both having to use more pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
LSU sits back, enjoying a little drink with an umbrella in it.
I always have a grudge for UCLA because you were talking about John Brady earlier. And when they made the Final Four, LSU in 2006, they lost to UCLA.
That was in Indianapolis, right?
Yes.
Yep.
There's a big mural of it outside the studio.
Yeah, in Atlanta, they knocked out Duke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
JJ Redick. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was covering that. And then I went to Indianapolis.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You got to cover that. That's like LSU's proudest moment ever in basketball.
I still think I have a T-shirt from that, with the 4 teams.
That's awesome.
Oh, no, that was an incredible. And the thing that was so great about that John Brady team, the 5 starters were from like Baton Rouge and within like 40 miles of the PMAC.
All legends.
They're all legends.
Yeah, Temple and Big Baby and all those guys.
No, exactly. And the rebounding freak who left after a year.
Oh, yeah.
Who was your boy? I mean, that guy was out of control.
Brandon Bass.
No, the guy that played like a year, I think, with him, or and got drafted like 6th overall. Trying to think, who was that guy on that team?
Yeah, his name escapes me.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great college player, but like he was emerging.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, declaring for the draft, out. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
He's playing another year. But he was like the 6th overall pick and never really, it didn't work out. But no, you had the Baton Rouge kids, a kid from Denham Springs. It's just incredible team.
Mm-hmm.
And they played defense and hell, what's his name? Just got out the league.
Yeah.
Collis Temple III.
Garrett Temple, yeah.
Garrett Temple.
He's like playing into his late 30s.
Yeah, he was a great defensive player. He played on that. He shut down JJ Redick in that game in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Redick was like a 3-pointing ace.
A legendary performance.
Yep, that was great. No, I forgot. It was UCLA that knocked the Tigers out, huh?
Mhm.
And then there was like a Gonzaga type. I'm trying to think of the other team that was there.
I couldn't remember the other team, and I think that's the team that won it that year.
Was Florida in it too? Was it UCLA?
That was the next year. I think Florida won their
Okay.
first of 2 championships. Wait, look it up.
Anyway, it wasn't Florida in the Final Four too?
I don't think so, but I'm about to confirm.
All right. Mario Brothers loves his sports, a.k.a. Latinx.
I guess that would have been 07. But yeah, I love my sports. Don't love my LSU basketball since John Brady left, but yes.
No, Brady was great. I enjoyed his press conferences. I had a great round of golf. It was Guy Smith, an attorney, who was Pete Maravich's lawyer, not his agent. Pete Maravich's lawyer, not his agent. And Guy just passed away like a year ago at like 80-something. So I played with Guy Smith, Dave Dixon, the founder of the Dome and, the Saints, USFL, and John Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Played some golf, had lunch after. I was like, this is probably 20 years ago. So they were all like, Brady was closest in age to me. And he's 10, 12 years older than me. Dave Dixon, Guy Smith are like 20, 30 years older than me. But it was great. It was a good day. It was a good round of golf. 4 hours out on the course with them, and then lunch. Tough to beat.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good one.
It was Florida. You were right, by the way.
Florida, UCLA, LSU, and don't tell me the third. The third was like a Gonzaga type.
Yeah, no, it was a smaller surprise team. Like to this day, they're inspiring March Madness underdogs.
Yeah, who is it?
George Mason.
It was George Mason.
George
That's
Mason.
right. No, they had. I think the Pels drafted a player off that team.
Yes, I don't remember who.
The then Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Hornets drafted a player off that George Mason team, the star.
Mm-hmm.
See, Mario Brothers, this is exactly why I got out of sports. Don't you?
And this is why I'm in it, I guess. I remember useless stuff from 20 years
That's
ago.
not. I was about to get to. I like to put some physics or some science or something I could use in real life.
Yep. Go far in STEM, kids. Good decision.
Exactly. Not sports. Televangelist Jimmy Swaggart, 90 years old, hospitalized, had a cardiac arrest situation yesterday right in front of his sons, where he hits the floor and his heart isn't breathing. His heart isn't beating and he's not breathing. Sons, both of them, chest compressions, nothing. I mean, that's just got to be a terrible situation for those boys. Seeing your father. And paramedics got his heart pumping again, working again. He's in ICU. And one of the sons, I think the preacher was like, we need a miracle. Founder of the Jimmy Swaggart Ministries. When I was at LSU, this is like 35 plus years ago, Jimmy Swaggart was bringing in $250,000 a day. 35 years ago. 250 grand each and every day. Some of these envelopes would just be stuffed with cash. Just crazy. Crazy. Anyway, keep Swaggart in your prayers. Am I a fan of televangelists? No. They remind me of the advertising injury attorneys. But, Jimmy Swaggart from Faraday, and I don't wish ill will even on people that are like this. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Hey, Katie's is open right now for dinner. Yummy. Iberville, corner Tallahassee, right in Mid-City. A Mid-City mainstay, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Why don't you head to Katie's tonight and get some good New Orleans goodies, all kind of great seafood, fresh, local seafood at Katie's in Mid-City. Listen to Blue Boy all excited about seafood at Katie's. I hear you, buddy. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, thank you. You folks watching and listening, thanks. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 o'clock on a Tuesday. That's Blue Boy saying, have a great night. Down, Blue Boy. Down, buddy.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.